And that's what tension often is. It's a bracing to endure that which is uncomfortable.
Could you give us a little overview real quick of what somatic living is?
We wanted to have a sequence that systematically opens the body. That really the intention was officially a person could do a series of postures and open their entire body once and for all. Thought pattern has a subsequent breathing rhythm, but at the exact same time, we can now flip that order and say a specific breathing rhythm will create a subsequent thought pattern.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Somatic Living Room. We have Rameen Peyrow, co-founder of Somatic Living, with us today. And today we're going to be talking about the Foundation series and, more importantly, and focus in on the leg sequence. And it's a pleasure to have you with us, Rameen, and welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful to be here.
For those who don't know, just joining us for the first time, could you give us a little overview real quick of what Somatic Living is and how people can practice with us?
Yeah, sure. Somatic Living is an embodiment platform that has physical postures, breathing, and meditation techniques. We have full-length classes, which are an hour long, and then we have 10-minute classes for people that just need to fit it more easily into the schedule. The platform is guided in the process of embodiment. And embodiment really starts from the opening of the physical tissue, and we do that by our awareness, by physically moving the body into posture, applying breath, and then magnetizing it with our mind. So we focus on those three major principles: body, breath, and mind.
Wonderful. And it's true that you also teach in New York City live in person as well?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have live classes here in New York weekly. And it's great when people can be close and we can work together in person. And if that's not possible, this is the second best and sometimes the best for some individuals to work at their own pace online.
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, for me, I also take the practice on and find it's so fitting for the different times of the day and for the different processes or the different availability in the practice. It meets you each way, whether you have a little bit of time or you have a large amount of time. Both of them can be supported with the platform.
Yeah, that was really the strong intention, is that it is able to be used by everybody.
And as the two primary, I would say, programs within the platform, we have the Foundation series and the monthly sequence. And I thought it would be good for us to go over the Foundation series, and in particular, the legs, as you're currently teaching legs in person in class now, and we can dive a little bit deeper into where does it all begin in the Foundation series.
Well, realistically, when the Foundation series was designed, we wanted to have a sequence that systematically opens the body. That really the intention was officially a person could do a series of postures and open their entire body once and for all. So the sequencing really starts with the soles of the feet and addresses the fascia tissue, the connective tissue of the body that wraps itself around the muscles and other tissues, including the bones of the body, and molds and shapes how the body sits, and also really governs over a lot of the tension that we feel within the body. So as we work through the sequence, we have an opportunity to open the feet through the ankles, lower leg, knees, upper leg, pelvis, and the connection that the legs have through into the pelvis. The series is designed to open all sides of the legs, the front, the back, the sides, and develop a strength within the leg itself, so that then as the body is opening into the spaciousness that exists within the tissue, that there's strength left behind so that we can comfortably hold our place within the experience of that space instead of bouncing back into a tension bind.
Thank you for sharing more in depth, especially about the tension held within the body. And something that comes to mind, is it particular to a type of person? For instance, we all have different tension based off our different activities. A construction worker is going to have something different than a an office worker. I don't know, a bus driver is going to have something different than a mailman walking. And so does it matter what type of body type or what type of physical activities you're already engaged with to do the practice?
Every body type, every form of physical activity benefits from the foundational leg sequence and all of the foundational sequences. The sequencing follows the pathway of the fascia and how it has trains of communication within the body. And those trains of communication create organic networks. And these organic networks is based upon the type of activity that you do or exercise that you do. So it retraces the steps of the activity and then begins to remove the tension, opening you back up into an authentic spaciousness of the body again.
And with the legs being such a large muscle group, they probably hold a lot of tension and a lot of memory.
One would be so surprised as you bring more and more awareness into the experience of the tissue of the legs that, yes, in fact, they hold so much memory and so much tension, and they do so much work for us. And this is one of the big things, like that people always joke about not skipping legs day at the gym, and it's the same approach for the Somatic Living platform. Is that we want to start with the legs and really encourage people to become inspired by opening that tissue and moving through some of the resistance that comes up when you start focusing on opening up the tissue of the legs and really ground into the fact and the opportunity that exists on the other side of opening up the legs.
And I've noticed in the sequence, a lot of the postures are very elongating. It seems like you're working the whole leg group as one instead of like an isolation.
That's right. That's right, because the way that fascia works in long lines of communication. So ideally, we want to develop a communication line that starts at the toes and works all the way through ankle, lower leg, knee, upper leg, and then into the pelvis. And then you can start to even feel fading sensations moving from the pelvis up into the torso. So we want to get as long as we possibly can with the bulk sensation coming through the legs. And then we give ourselves just tiny spiral movement adjustments to help enhance the experience of the pose.
And it's interesting you bring up that faded feeling when it from beyond the targeted area, how it affects every part of the body. So you're working the legs, but you may feel it in the neck kind of thing.
That's right. And that is a huge opportunity and benefit to working with the body in this way, is that we get to see not only how the target area is interacting with itself, such as the legs, but we also get to see how the legs are associated to the rest of the body and how something like the pelvis, the torso, the shoulders, the neck influences the legs and how the legs influence those different areas, because they have a symbiotic relationship. They're in co-creation of the environment that exists within the body.
And when we've talked about memories held within the body, and that's likewise, it's not just working that targeted region such as the legs, but there could be a memory held within a pattern of your upper body that then when you release the tension in your legs, the upper body also releases that holding pattern. That, or for
That's right.
instance, like pulling forward and then the neck's looking up, or all the things that legs can almost essentially pull you down because it's like a grounding quality in our lives.
That's right. And a lot of times the front of the legs is a big target for tension holding, and that is an opportunity that we take on right away with this sequencing is to open up the front of the legs that the tissue attaches through the pelvis into the low back, which then really deals with a lot of low back pain and emotion storage within the low back and continues up into the shoulders and the neck. And you're right about tension and emotion being held within the body through the very fine tension lines within the body that are designed to let us know that we had an experience. But if we hold on subconsciously to that tension experience within the body, it becomes a reoccurring experience again and again, and becomes then chronic stiffness within the neck, and we don't really know why, or chronic back pain within the low back, but we don't really understand why.
Interesting. So you think it's the low back or you think it's the neck, but it actually could be another part of your body. For instance, it's the legs. And it even could be not an injury nor even moving patterns, but it actually could be like an emotional response that's held somewhere.
Yes, and the emotional response triggers the physical tissue to create tension in a very specific way. And when we have habitual movement, because the emotional body and the physical body are completely related. So when one does something, the other does something. So when we come across anything that resembles the emotional signature that we initially had, then it will reignite that protective mechanism around the tension. And that's what tension often is. It's a bracing to endure that which is uncomfortable.
Like a tightening.
A tightening, a squeezing of the legs, and then or letting go, and then another squeeze of the legs, and then letting go. If somebody is typing an email, it's a positive email, but it has to be done at a particular time. And as they're typing, they squeeze onto the legs without even knowing it, and then release, and then again squeeze onto the legs, and then release. And that repetitive pattern of squeeze and release, squeeze and release, squeeze and release begins to create habitual lines of communication that say that I must hold my body in this very specific way. So what we are creating an opportunity for is to go back and trace those lines of tension and bring palpitation, bring fluidity back into those areas so they can connect to the authentic space again.
I just let the siren go by as I adjust this too. I think the siren is a nice. Let me adjust this one more time. The siren is a nice, the siren is a nice symbolic meaning behind what the body is doing. It's like sending alarms throughout the body about some stress response, and you're continually living that as if you were hearing that siren all the time, subtly in the background.
That's right.
And
Exactly.
you're moving from that space. Your response to your family members are now not about them. It's about whatever you're experiencing, but it's the fact that it's actually held in the body. It's not just a memory, it's physically in your body. And that's why the physical practice helps so much to open up the space. And for someone who hasn't really practiced much, in body work or yoga. What is that? Could you actually go into that sensation when we just a simple stretch, say we put our leg down and we bend, fold forward, and we feel the stretch, and when you get up, that open feeling in this very simple form of it?
The When one stretches the body, there's a number of organic experiences that are occurring, and that good sensation that you feel are the good hormones releasing within the body.
So it's not just blood flow,
It's
it's actually hormones, it's actually
it's
chemical
blood flow,
release.
it's hormones, it's chemical release. Yes, inflammation within the body is definitely correlated to stress and holding. Because when the body is squeezing too tightly, the body's natural means of flushing out the system becomes restricted. The lymphatic system and the rest of the fluid that runs through the body to move challenges and toxins out. So when we hold too tightly, the body begins to inflame on itself. When we bring movement back into the body, we start to reduce the inflammation of the body itself.
That's a nice way to see it. It's the actual, it's still, once again, it's tension, but it's blocking the natural outgo process, just like a breath. So our body breathes and brings in nutrients and then also lets go of the toxins or just the nutrients we no longer need. And so an inflammation is that tension once again held. You're holding on to even the foods and what you receive from the outside
Most
world
definitely.
within your body, and then the secretion of sweat and just the natural expulsion of those chemicals or of those the nutrients is blocked, and that's what inflames the body,
Yeah, it slows it down. It slows it
slows it down.
down. Yeah.
Wow, so it's nice to even correlate because it all interplays, not just your tight body, but it's the whole symbiotic as one. The whole holistic approach can be opened up through movement of the physical body, and then also with breath, correct?
100% with the breathing, then that is working with the energy of the body, the life force of the body, which is connected to our breathing. And the breathing is influencing the body on a more subtle way than the physical exercise of the posture. So the body incorporates the breath and the awareness and then sends the breathing to different areas of the body. So in an ideal world, when we inhale and exhale, we feel the entire body at the same time. So when we inhale, we feel an expansion into our toes, pelvis, fingertips, crown of the head, and everywhere in between. And we feel uh, a ripple-like expansion. And then when we exhale, we feel a movement back towards the center and a settling back down of the tissue. So we can feel the tissue palpitating on the inhale and the exhale. And then when we put our body into a posture, that now highlights that area of the body, which the awareness is now heightened in that area of the body, and the breath will follow where the awareness is going. So we start to create a very conscious relationship between body and breath. So the breath begins to slow down and open up, just like how the body begins to slow down and open up. And the two begin to support each other. So the breathing changes in order to support the space that has been created in the body and to support the good hormones and chemicals that have been released within the body.
And that breath is always neutral. It's never held within some sort of like pattern or something. It's always that neutral, almost like pure water. The breath always flushes out It's not programmed, I should say, with some intent. Or it can be, I suppose.
The breath itself is designed to respond to the activity of body mind. So when the body creates a pattern of tension with an emotional response, the breath will change on a very subtle level in order to facilitate that experience that we are requesting on that emotional level. But at the exact same time, as soon as we bring awareness to the breath will expand and deepen and then stop the pattern, break the pattern up, and give us an opportunity to see something different, something new, something within the now.
So the breath is actually, it can be different. There are, every breathing pattern almost is like a different form of communication, essentially, like
A different signature, really.
a signature.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so the body is responding, doing short breaths. So the breath is short, and it has a response to both the mind and the body of a short
That's
breath,
right.
which is maybe anxious or quick. You need to be quick in
Exactly.
some decision making. So the breath isn't
Exactly.
neutral in that sense. It's for this response that the mind is experiencing. So the mind's seen an elephant, and then now it is responding according to seeing an elephant kind of thing, which your body needs to
That's
then
right.
to respond to.
Exactly. So the breath, the mind, and the body are all working together, and the thought pattern has a subsequent breathing rhythm. But at the exact same time, we can now flip that order and say a specific breathing rhythm will create a subsequent thought pattern. So in an ideal world, we are conscious and present of the fact that we're breathing during the hours of the time that we are conscious and awake throughout the day. And as we gain the ability to do that, to breathe in this way, then we are influencing positively both our subconscious and our conscious mind, and influencing it with the opportunity to create thought pattern based upon the positive sensation that the breath is producing, which gives an opportunity for the subconscious mind, because we're now prolonging the exposure, just like how if we have prolonged exposure to stress or anxiety, how it will influence the body and create tension lines. With prolonged exposure and experience of the positivity of the breath, it creates a softness and open lines.
So we're reversing.
We're reversing. So that soft and open line then has a direct connection to the subconscious, and that subconscious saying, oh yeah, this is how my person wants to feel. This is what my person wants to see from its conscious mind as it is awake.
So the conscious effort of working with the breath, in a sense of interrupting a thought pattern that has been brought upon from an external, you're now reversing back to then decide how you feel, and then your body support, or your breath supports how you feel, and your body holds how you feel, and you can continue that forward instead of living from the past.
That's right.
And with that comes we can go more into your meditation practice as well that is provided with the platform and in-person classes, is that after we work the body and after we are allowing ourselves to once again connect with our breath, we can also rest within that, within the mind as well.
Well, that's right. And again, the body, the breath, and the mind are working together. So when it comes to focusing our attention on the mind, healing the mind, opening the mind, developing the concentration of the mind, we want the mind to have an ideally soft and receiving environment to rest into. because the mind itself is non-local. It is as much in the head as it is in the body. And to try and relax the mind with the mind is actually quite challenging. So we have uh, focused the effort of the meditation technique on firstly embodying our meditation. And how we do that is by combining the space created within the body and the rhythms of the breath to connect to comfort and relaxation. And the gravity of the relaxation begins to pull the strings of the mind into itself and teach the mind how to relax. So we no longer need to worry about what the mind is producing, so thought, emotion, our personality, and instead we focus on the mind space itself meeting the experience of the body, the space of the body. And then the thought and emotion begins to take care of itself as we begin to relax. Our whole just naturally begins to soften on the thought and emotion. And because our natural state of experiencing is that which wishes to be comfortable and relaxed, it will just simply go there because we've given it the time to do that.
So, as a natural state, you're saying naturally our body wants to be. This is something that actually has come up. Your body wants to be comfortable. Your mind wants to be happy and blissful. Joy is a natural aspect of who we are.
Exactly. And our best example is when we fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
When we fall asleep, we're always comfortable and relaxed. When we wake up, we're always comfortable and relaxed. The body left to its own device is just going to lie down in one spot and just rest there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the will of the individual that moves the body around.
Mm-hmm.
So the body is the perfect teacher of relaxation.
Yeah, it does it every night, and you almost can learn from that it actually is guiding us into that. And if the body is like that, naturally falls asleep, what would it be for like a person, like their personality or their, say, the breath? I would say the breath then in its natural space is just like sleeping, right? It just naturally goes
The
in.
breath is naturally teaches attention.
Oh, attention.
So naturally, when breath is again left to its own action and we're paying close attention to it, that is the only thing that exists. It's primarily breath, and then secondarily a thought or secondarily a feeling of the body. But what comes first is breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest, which makes sense because without breath, there is no life.
Mm-hmm.
So life is based upon the action of inhale, exhale.
So
So
if
that sensation is the source experience that then converts itself into all of life.
the stories, the personalities, the mind holding of your world
Everything.
essentially, and how all is like the spear point is the breath, every breath.
That's right.
And if one
That
has
is
that,
the life force.
yeah, the prana, the life force coming in.
Yes.
And so if one was able to hold that attention, putting that first before the thoughts and before, what kind of changes could come about from that?
The positive experiences that we get from our breathing, the positive sensation that we get from our breathing begins to infuse the body and the mind, releasing positive chemicals and connects us to a different part of our nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, which allows us to become restful and comfortable and respond to our reality in a very rational um, and elevated way. And the breathing is in its natural state really designed to govern one's awareness.
Interesting. When you settle into that breath, you realize all that other chatter is just that. It reminds me of like social media, like going, 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 but it just doesn't matter at that when you're focusing on the breath, because that is your life source at that point.
That's right. And that positive sensation is educating body and mind as to what to do next.
I see. That's what I was wondering. What is the next? So that intuitive sense is from the breath kind of thing.
It begins to, yes, it begins to develop the body and the mind to access the intuition.
The greatest gift would be to feel like what is there to do next, to not have that feeling of pressing of I should do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. It's actually like an inner vacation and a feeling of you can just rest. If you just listen to your breath's telling you you can just sit back. Everything's okay.
That's
You
right.
actually can just be joyful without needing to do kind of thing.
That's right. So often we are caught up in mind and thought as being the absolute of our reality
Mm-hmm.
and negating the fact that there is importance and leadership function coming from breath and body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true.
We almost feel that breath is just something that happens, body is just something that I have, and the the absolute power of my life is coming from my mind and thought.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, it is a three part experience simultaneously happening. Experience of body, experience of breath, experience of the mind working together in order to create the environment that we live in.
It's beautiful. The thing that also, what last point that comes to mind is you've mentioned before, just in teaching about the koshas and the body,
Yes,
the breath, the mind, and then beyond that, the intelligence. Is that
yes.
within the breath? Is the intelligence, or is the breath actually
Also,
it's
yes,
inner?
also can be found within the in the breath because the breath is working on very subtle levels,
Hmm.
ether like levels even.
It touches every one. It touches every plane.
It touches everyone, and
Hmm.
we can adjust ourselves if we breathe more subtly.
Hmm.
We can ask ourselves just to sip the breath and see if we can find deeper and deeper and deeper qualities of the breath. Just like if you sip a glass of wine and you find the deeper and deeper dimensions of the taste, we can find deeper and deeper dimensions of the sensation that exists within the breathing.
And then beyond that, the Anandamaya kosha, the bliss body, is that also where you can touch, or is that beyond
Most
now?
definitely, one can develop oneself into feeling bliss coming from the body via the breath. And we have hints of what this bliss like sensation could feel like when we inhale and notice how good we feel when we inhale.
So that is the Anandamaya, that is the bliss body, or is that more
It's
chemical,
related
like
it's related to the bliss body.
Mm-hmm.
And the bliss body is accessed through the enhancements of the chemical responses within the body and those good sensation chemicals that are released within the body.
How so we can access that within every breath, and essentially that's the pinpoint, and so the body helps us support. I suppose it's all individual experience. So you can now hold that good feeling within your body. So your body can communicate that good feeling back. So if your mind's not even able to be in that space anymore, by working with our body, by releasing that tension, it can support you in that feel-good sensation.
That's exactly it. And then the mind will follow that through its new education. So those tension patterns that created the racing of the mind and the anxiety have now been softened and replaced with open patterns of good feeling within the body. So that just like how the tension patterns are influencing mind to think a particular way, the open patterns of the body are now influencing the mind to think in a new way.
Supportive of that good feeling.
Supportive of the good feeling, exactly, supportive of the natural environment of space within the body, supportive of positivity, receptivity, understanding, intuition, and positive instinct.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. And with that, I think we'll close it because that wraps it up so nicely. Is there any other final points you want to add to that in correlation to foundations?
I think that really the opportunity that we have when we go into a practice, a somatic practice such as somatic living, we are allowing ourselves to give ourselves an education of how to rest into the body, how to breathe with positive rhythm, and how to harness the magnetism of the mind so that then we can live a very holistic, uh, well balanced, well meaning life.
Wonderful. And it's not just for ourselves, but it's for everyone we engage with. It's upliftment of humanity, really. Upliftment of every single person for themselves, but then also for everyone.
That's right.
The more people we have aligned to that, the natural flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Rameen, for coming on. It was a pleasure talking this morning and learning more and deepening into our understanding of the somatic practice, of our bodies, and of embodiment itself. Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful to be here.